There are more than just headlights on diesel locomotives, and today we're going to take a look at the different kind of lights you would find, both past and present, on diesels. Ron writes in, everyone knows about the headlight on the front of a locomotive and why it is there. But what are some of the other lights you see on locomotives today and in the past? What is their meaning? How are they used? And what different colors are they? Ron, you're absolutely right. There are different kind of lights that have been used on diesel locomotives, both past and present. We'll start by going back to the timetable and train order era. And that's when locomotives use classification lights or classification lamps. And those can be found in two different locations. And I have an example here on this former Burlington Northern GP10 of classification lights that were on the nose of the locomotive. And you can see one here and the other one's just a little bit hard to see, but it's right there. And we'll also take a look at an Elko locomotive here from the Arkansas, Missouri that has the classification lights above the number boards. So you have the white, the green, and red lenses on both sides. So what do those different lenses indicate? Well, white indicates that the train is an extra. Red is a marker light. And the green indicates that there are additional sections of a scheduled train behind the first train. Now, classification lights were phased out in the 1970s. Some railroads simply opted to plate over the lights, other railroads left them uncovered, and some railroads kept just the red lights for use as marker lights. Now, some railroads had specialized lights. One example is the Southern Pacific. And here I have a picture of one of the railroad's Electromotive Division SD9 diesels. And at the very top of the front headlight cluster, you can see a red pile gyro light. Now, this light would illuminate if an emergency brake application were applied. Now, over the years, the SP modified its headlight packages and the gyro lights were eventually removed. So you want to refer to prototype photos to know whether or not the gyro light would be appropriate for your modeling era. Now, if you're modeling the modern era, ditch lights are certainly something that you want to include on your models. Ditch lights started to be used in the 1990s, and they were eventually mandated on road locomotives starting in 1997. And here you can see an example of ditch lights on a Burlington Northern, so the ditch lights are here and here. Now, the one thing you notice about the ditch lights is that they're mounted outboard of the headlights. And that's on purpose because they want the headlight and the ditch lights to form a triangle pattern to help get the attention of motorists at a grade crossing so they can see a train is coming. Now, there are different placements for the ditch lights, so again, you want to refer to prototype photos if you're going to model a specific prototype. Now, another type of light you might find on a locomotive is a rooftop beacon. These started appearing in roughly the 1960s, and they've been phased out over the years, but you can still find some examples on contemporary locomotives. Here's a Burlington Northern SW9 with a beacon right on the top of the cab, kind of on the front edge of the cab by the air horn. Here you can see one from Burlington Northern predecessor Northern Pacific, a slightly different style of beacon here that has a cap on the top. And here you can see an example on the Soo line. This one happens to be mounted just ahead of the cab on the top of the short hood. Now, if you want to learn more about locomotive lighting and different features you'd find on locomotives, I would encourage you to check out Jeff Wilson's book, The Guide to North American Diesel Locomotives. This book is item number 01303, and it's available from the Kalmbach Hobby Store website, kalmbachhobbystore.com, for $27.99. Not only does the book have a lot of great information about details on locomotives, it also has rosters and information on when different prototypes were built and how long you could find them in service. So again, head over to the Kalmbach Hobby Store and check out Jeff's book. Do you have other questions about prototype equipment? Or do you like to learn more about model railroading? Send us an email, asktrains@trains.com.